Cleveland. The Browns made an announcement yesterday. They're going to start Shedeur Sanders at quarterback for the team's preseason opener against the Panthers Friday. The decision comes in part due to fellow quarterbacks Kenny Pickett and Dylan Gabriel dealing with injuries. It makes no difference. Sanders has yet to see any consistent first-team reps throughout camp, but will be given an opportunity to prove himself. We have a great loaded NFL panel here on the show. We start with Louis Riddick. Louis, this start is significant to say the least, injuries aside. Even though it's preseason, though, what is at stake for Shedeur Sanders going out there Friday as the QB1 for the Cleveland Browns?
Well, look, this is the opportunity I think we all would like to see him get in terms of having first-team reps in a game setting. Now, the problem is he hasn't taken a whole lot of reps with the first team. So, as I talked about previously here, this is the kind of scenario that you don't want. You're going out there with the first team, but you haven't really repped with them. You haven't really gone through all the different calls that the quarterbacks that have been getting the majority of the ones and twos have gotten. So for him, hey, look, he may not be able to lock down the starting job with this performance, but he can definitely lose it. That's just the life of being a late-round draft pick. They expect you to be perfect, although you weren't necessarily set up for perfection. But if there's anybody who is built to handle this kind of opportunity, it's him, because of the kind of football he played at Colorado, because of the kind of young man that he is. So look, this is what we've been waiting to see. This is what all young draft picks want to see. And the only thing I'll say for him is this. You got to go out there, you got to make one or two wild plays, play a clean game, but you got to give them something to remember when they go back in those personnel meetings.
Scott, we've been talking a lot about Shedeur all offseason through the draft, and guess what? Their first time taking the field in the preseason, Shedeur Sanders is QB1. What can he do on Friday night?
Show poise and leadership. I mean, I've been here. What's the definition of luck? It's when opportunity meets preparation. And listen, all those things that you're doing when you're the guy that doesn't get any reps, I was undrafted free agent. I don't know the story, but trying to figure things out, right? You got to learn from other people's mistakes, but you understand that when your opportunity comes, you got to be ready to pounce. Listen, he's a thoroughbred. You know, we know where he comes from. We know who his father is. We know what the standard is. All he has to do is show poise and show that he can handle the pressure. Be in the pocket, make smart decisions, show accuracy. I think it'll be fine. I think he can set himself up where they have to make a decision. Do they trade Kenny Pickett or do they trade Joe Flacco? Because I think at the end of the day, the Cleveland Browns have to come out with a starter for the future to figure out, or if they're going to get in this quarterback sweepstakes that's coming up in the next draft. So it's up to him to prove that, hey, we got all the quarterback that we need. We can use the position that we're in to get more draft equity for the future to build this roster and start over after the Deshaun Watson era.
Mike Tannenbaum, it's only August, but this matters. This is significant, right?
This is a significant story, guys. I love this opportunity for Shedeur Sanders. So much was made about what happened pre-draft. It doesn't matter. That's ancient history. This is like the NCAA tournament, guys. Survive in advance. Go out there, no pre-snap penalties, get in and out of the hull, as you're alluding to, Bart. And then, as Lou alluded to, just make good, solid plays. And then what has happened, Peter? That gives you more reps in week 2. Stack week 1 to week 2. Everything else takes care of itself. Show that you're the battlefield commander, as Coach Parcells would say, and you can control that preparation. You can control what to do in and out of the huddle. You may not have great chemistry with your receivers, but you've earned this. Go out there, take advantage of it. Like for August 6th, guys, this is a big story. Like, go earn the job or go earn more reps in week 2.
I think that's the key point. Yes, there were injuries to Pickett, and yes, there were injuries to Gabriel. He's going to be on the field. And now he's got the opportunity. I'm curious to see how he does with such limited reps in practice, how well he can play with the number ones. Our next stop is Oxnard, California. It's the home of Cowboys training camp. And there's been a standoff between owner Jerry Jones and star player Micah Parsons, and it is nearing a boiling point. Since the trade request last week, Jerry has not spoken with Parsons, and there have been reportedly no discussions with the team and Parsons' agent. Jerry Jones was asked to look ahead to week 1. Here was his response.
Any confidence that he will be on the field against Philadelphia?
Again, no. Absolutely not. That has to, a big part of that is his decision. How would I know that? I'm just saying. No, but I'm urgent. What it is what it is. And we'll work through it, or we will not work through it.
There's been a lot of Jerryisms. What it is a new one for me. Louis Riddick, do you like the way the owner of the team is handling this?
What it is what it is. I mean, that's just dumb. I mean, what are we talking about here? I mean, you're talking about a guy, like, and I know Mike's going to talk about this too. you have found a guy who is like right in the sweet spot of what all scouting departments look for. Guy in an impact position, young, healthy, dynamic, game closer. You've drafted him. He's homegrown. He's yours. These are the easy decisions. These are the ones that you go to bed at night going, look, I can tuck that away and now I'm moving on to the rest of this roster. And now you're throwing around quotes like this, like, no, I don't have confidence that he's going to be on the football field week 1. No, a lot of that's up to him. It is what it is. I mean, like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? And then, you know, and then the things that haven't been said so far, but we have already talked about. You're not returning the calls of his agent. You don't want to get in touch with David Mulligan. Really? That's what you want to do now? And then and then you're telling the fan base, hey, relax. Don't lose any sleep over this. Why? Because you know ultimately you're going to wind up paying it. But still, you know what? Here's the issue, though. There is unquantifiable damage that he's doing to his roster and his locker room. Because you saw those guys standing behind Micah in that clip right there? They're all sitting there going, dude, how the hell are you not getting paid? We're sitting around watching you. We're taking our cues off of you, how we need to conduct ourselves, the kind of impact plays you need to make. And if you can't get paid, who the hell can? And you know what? Why should I go ahead and do the extra for this organization if they're not going to reward the guy who's one of the baddest dudes in the league? See, Jerry knows. He's been to the mountaintop before in the early 90s. I played against those teams. You couldn't touch them. Now, look, like, I don't understand why he's doing this. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Mike T, you were a long-time team builder. This is an unorthodox way to handle a contract situation so publicly, again in front of the cameras. Your reaction watching that clip?
Division from within is insidious. It prevents you from winning games. And when you're trying to compete with Philadelphia, Washington, amongst others, Green Bay, the Rams. By the way, I totally agree with everything Lou said from who the player is and where he is, but if I'm Tyler Smith, just to pick a name, a young, really good player that they draft, and I'm looking at CeeDee Lamb, and I'm looking at Dak Prescott signing a contract when he's walking in the stadium, and now this, I'm thinking like, do I really want to be here as well? So I think there's tangible issues here, Peter, which is they're going to pay at least $7 million more. Last year, Nick Bosa's at $34 million. We know that TJ Watt's at 41. But I think much more fundamentally and much more pervasive is the intangible sort of erosion of a great brand, because now these young players are like, well, wait a second. These other teams are competing against us to win, and we're fighting amongst ourselves. And division from within prevents you from winning.
Look, we know the Jerry side of it. Bart Scott, if you had Micah Parsons sitting here at the table with you right now, as I saw Andrew Whitworth was talking with him yesterday on the field, what would you say to Micah, and what would be your guidance to handle this situation?
I mean, I don't think this affects anything. I mean, because at the end of the day, they know, Jerry, you got to show me the money, baby. It don't matter. And the longer you wait to pay me, the more cheese you got to put on my taco later. Right now, there's nobody else that can elevate the salary cap. There's nobody left. There's no young player that can take it. TJ Watt was the last one. Trey Henderson will get a good contract, but he won't be somebody that can push it to the top and surpass TJ Watt. But we know Micah Parsons is, because he's everything that those players are, but he's in his prime. So he has another contract still left in him. Jerry always does this. But at the end of the day, you can go all the way back and talk about those teams that you competed against. What happened with Henderson?
Mr. Games.
They still paid him the money.
Yeah.
So it's going to get pay me now, pay me later, but at the end of the day, you're going to pay me, Jerry. We saw it happen. Maybe he needs to call up Zeke and go to Cowboys and hang out with him. You know what I mean? Who didn't get paid? Right? Everybody got paid.
Why does it have to
That got
why
paid.
does it have to be so hard?
Because Jerry's trying to see if he'll get you to blink. And everybody knows that, Jerry, you bluffing at this point. At the end of the day, your legacy and what you're trying to accomplish, we know you're running out of time, Jerry.
But he could have signed him to an extension for the last 2
Right.
years.
Right,
But
right.
see,
So
but
is he bluffing?
It's bigger to me than, look, Micah knows he's going to get paid regardless, right?
Right.
But see, all right, so I'm looking at this really from Jerry's standpoint. Yeah, he may say, look, I did this kind of thing with Emmett. We still won Super Bowls. Because you know what? You had Troy, and you had Michael, and you had Eric Williams. You had like an all-time team.
Yeah.
They don't have an all-time team right now. Right. So, but he's the one who says all the time, I'm all in, right? My clock is ticking. I need to win another championship. Well, this isn't the blueprint for it. And you don't have Troy Aikman over here. And you don't have Michael Irvin. You don't have Deion Sanders. You don't have that team anymore. But you're conducting business like it's back in 1993 again. And it's not. It's not.
And it's here it is, man. You know, these old owners, man, they old habits die hard.
But you know what? I mean, and the rest of the division is just pulling away. And Philly, they're all pulling away.
I don't think they ever traded. Like, this has to get resolved at some point. I don't think this turns into Jalen Ramsey or Jackson Walker.
Hey, you know what, man? I put nothing past this dude. Because, look, I right now, every day he says something, I'm just like, what? Like, really?
Hey,
so that's where we're at?
You got to get Grandpa off the porch, man.
Maybe.
We got big NFL news here at ESPN. We are